the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free.
Don Lemon was arrested, and I frankly am disgusted. How is it even possible that it took this long? Also, the birth rate is declining around the world, and the numbers are actually way worse than you might have thought. Also, possibly Don Lemon's fault. And we're going to clean out the clips that we didn't use this week. It's one of my favorite things we do here on a Friday. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. My name is Jobob. It starts right now. Like I mentioned, I'm furious that it took this long to arrest Don Lemon, who was a rioter who happened to have a camera, and therefore he's saying, I'm a journalist. The libs are freaking out. The whole, it's a free speech thing. But there's actually a really interesting discussion that probably needs to be had in terms of how our legal system works. Yes, you do have free speech. And also, I don't know, you can't create the scene that you then cover, especially if it happens to be in a church, which there's even more irony about that. We'll discuss the FACE Act, what that is, right off the bat here. tpt@tpusa.com is the email address if you'd like to send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, criticisms. Leave a comment wherever it is that you happen to be watching this via social media. And if your comment is bigoted, disgusting, hateful, and just downright nasty, it'll probably fit in with the tenor that we happen to have on this show. Just downright nasty. There's some interesting social media comments that actually, confirm that this show is, in fact, hateful, bigoted, and just downright nasty. So we'll get to some of those maybe a little bit later on today. But before we do any of those things, we have to discuss the national tragedy. The nation is in mourning. Don Lemon is in custody for probably 15 minutes before he gets released, because that's the way our justice system works. I wish there was a system where Don Lemon couldn't have bail. Unfortunately, it's probably unconstitutional to keep him locked up like that. But Don Lemon, as we've mentioned, I'm sure you've seen many times today, has been arrested for participating in, possibly even leading, one may say, an insurrection of a church. Now, the left calls this a peaceful protest. They say, well, this is just a guy with his First Amendment right trying to show the world what is happening. Those of us with eyes and brains said, no, dude, he clearly was a part of a group of people that, interestingly enough, broke a law that the libs wrote. Again, the irony here, that conservatives kind of really don't even like, but were smart enough at the time that this law was passed to kind of put something else in there that would appease our side. Now, first thing, before we get into any of that, I have to play this clip of Don Lemon pleading his case to the American people. This is cut 6.
Nobody is above the law. Nobody's above the law.
I'm sorry, that wasn't the clip that I thought it was. I don't know how that snuck in there. That's Don Lemon. He used to host a TV show on CNN that nobody watched, and was saying that nobody was above the law. That wasn't the clip that I was thinking it was, but I guess it is pertinent to what we were talking about. Here, let's skip past him, quote unquote, defending himself, and go back to what actually happened. We all saw 2 weekends ago, Don Lemon and a group of rabid, crazy people stormed a church in St. Paul, not Minneapolis. We got corrected on that in the email. City's church in St. Paul, and just started yelling like crazy people because they're lunatics trying to defend criminal illegals who are murderers and pedophiles and all of those things. Those are the people, those are constituents that those insurrectionists at that church want to defend. And Don Lemon allegedly was one of them. Now, the question is, well, how much of a role did he play in organizing and orchestrating the insurrection on the city's church in St. Paul? Well, this video might give us a little bit of insight, but there's even more after that. Watch this cut 7. This is Don Lemon before the brutal attack on the house of worship, because Don Lemon is a godless, soulless cretin.
Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. and it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live and use these operations as surprise operations. Again, you can't tell you where they're going.
Now, he implicated himself when he started saying we. After we do this operation, that kind of implies that you kind of had something to do with it there, Donnie boy. Also, he went on to say later on that he did some scouting for them, kind of scoped out the place, figured out what they should do when they enter the premises, and then obviously all the videos that we don't need to necessarily play again of him actually in the church harassing people, and then outside encouraging other people to harass the children at the church. You've seen all those before. We don't need to play them again. But Don Lemon was arrested. Now, we've been saying for a very long time, us on the conservative side of the aisle, why did this not happen sooner? We should have arrested Don Lemon a long time ago, because in participating in the stoppage of a church or a house of worship, he violated federal law. In 1994, there was a bill called the FACE Act that got through Congress, was signed into law, and interestingly and ironically enough, the FACE Act stands for Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. And ironically, the libs were the one pushing this bill because they were very, very upset that people who didn't want to murder babies were praying outside of abortion clinics. I kid you not, that's the whole thing. They were like, hey, those Christians over there that are praying because they don't want people to murder babies, we need that to stop. And therefore, we're going to introduce something and title it Freedom to Access the Clinic Entrance, the FACE Act. Now, of course, no conservative would actually go after this. So the libs threw us a bone, not go after this, go for this. The libs threw us a bone, I guess, and said, okay, hold on. I know you guys think this is ridiculous. We honestly kind of think it's ridiculous too. It's kind of to appease our crazy people on our side of the aisle. So how about let's do this? Let's compromise and throw in, so people can't insurrection clinics that provide murdering babies. We'll also throw in you also can't do this at churches. How about let's do that? Let's compromise here. And conservatives begrudgingly say, okay, fine. This is a ridiculous thing that you're trying to stop Christians from praying outside of abortion clinics. But fine, as long as you throw in places of worship in there, it should be fine. The federal law was then to prohibit force, threat of force, or physical obstruction to injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone obtaining reproductive services, but also protects places of religious worship, which is exactly what the church in St. Paul was. It falls under that category. So, by default, Don Lemon, allegedly leading the charge of a bunch of those lunatics into that church, broke this law as he clearly either attempted to intimidate, interfere with anyone obtaining their religious freedoms. It was enacted again in 1994, and basically, it did exactly, in this particular case, what libs designed it to do for abortion clinics. The irony is just it's so good and so delicious. So Don Lemon, allegedly, what it looks like, leads a charge. Everybody says you can't do that. All of us are up in arms for the last week and a half going like, hey, this guy clearly did this thing that is against federal law. Why are we not arresting him? And the Trump administration, the DOJ. Now, by the way, the DOJ tried. One of those activist judges said no because he's a journalist, which we'll get to in just a second. So you can't. And then they appealed it and then went a different direction. We don't need to get into the legal mumbo jumbo. But finally, they did succeed. So I'm joking when I say, why did it take this long? Because there is a legal process they had to go to. But I am glad that finally it happened. Now, before we get into the whether or not journalists have the right to commit federal crimes, spoiler alert, they don't. I did find this clip interesting because people love to make these sorts of things about race. Here's a guy who gave Don Lemon another warning, or at least said, hey, thankfully, you didn't come into this kind of church. Watch this cut 8.
Yeah, Don Lemon knew better than to go to a black church. He would have never tried that. It would have been a totally different scenario that would have happened. Totally different outcome. Because we don't play about stuff like that. You're not going to come in and you think he would have got an interview? Are you kidding me? He wouldn't have got past the aunties at the front. They would have shut that down. He's not even getting in through the front door.
Oh, that's my favorite part. He wouldn't have got past the aunties in the front. Can you imagine hyper-Christian black women just laying the beat down on Don Lemon? I don't want violence to happen in any way, shape, or form. But also, if he's breaking federal law, people need to hold their ground. They need to defend themselves and their religious freedoms. And man, that would be very, very funny to have seen. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Again, we don't want violence in any way, shape, or form here. But at the same time, it does bring the question of whether or not he's a journalist, because the libs' biggest argument is, okay, well, he's a journalist. Okay, not a lawyer, not giving you legal advice. Here's what I know that you can't do under the First Amendment. You can't say, well, hey, I'm a journalist, therefore I can go obstruct somebody else's First Amendment because of my First Amendment. Your First Amendment doesn't trump somebody else's First Amendment. Their First Amendment gives them religious freedoms, religious ability to do whatever they want in their own religious setting. Your First Amendment to say whatever you want does not get to stop their First Amendment to act in their own religious accordance. So there's that. Second thing, journalists, and again, I'm not a lawyer here, but if you're a journalist, you don't get to create the thing that you're covering and then be absolved because you say that you're a journalist. If I go out with producer Glenn on the streets of Los Angeles and I say, I'm here to cover violence, and then I punch some guy in the face, beat him down on the ground, and then say, wow, look at all the violence here that I'm covering. I'm not absolved of the crimes just because I have a camera. Right? That's not how that works. You don't get to start the controversy that you then cover and then claim, oh, no, I'm a journalist. I'm just doing my journalistic duty here. No, dude. In all fairness, if Don Lemon didn't offer his commentary and just went into the church and interviewed people, in a good faith manner, I'd be like, I don't think he should get arrested. I do think he's an asshat, yes, but I don't think he necessarily should be arrested for that. But that's not what happened. Don Lemon bragged about being involved in the planning of all of this. And therefore, by default, he loses his ability to say, well, I'm absolved of all of this because I'm a journalist. If that's the case, okay, fine. So then rioters can go in the streets, and as long as they have cameras streaming to YouTube, they're just completely, they get off scot-free. There's nothing that anybody, because again, it's journalists. They're journalists. Being a quote-unquote journalist does not give you the right to break the law. Also, I feel like we've saturated that quite a bit. Here's the other component about this that I think is fascinating, and the libs will will not necessarily be talking about much. And that is this. This is the best day of Don Lemon's life. Honest to God. He got a knock on his door last night, and federal agents were saying, Mr. Lemon, we're here to arrest you on this warrant. And he was going, thank you, God. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Pam Bondi. Thank you. I'm going to get a show back again. I'm going to be on top of the world. Everyone's going to be talking about me, which we kind of are. This is kind of the thing that I've been talking about with Gavin Newsom. Similar type of thing, but it's an attention component as opposed to an electoral component. Like, should we continue talking about Gavin Newsom even though he's destroyed California? That's what he wants. He wants us to talk about this. That's what Don Lemon wants. Don Lemon wants all of us to be talking about him and only him. And this is the best thing that has ever happened to him. On top of that, the Babylon Bee satirically, but also seriously, talked about his possible wishes. This is a graphic one here, the Babylon Bee with this headline. Satire turns into seriousness. This was a couple days ago. Frustrated Don Lemon wonders what a guy has to do to get sent to a men's prison. I don't condone this sort of humor solely predicated on one's sexuality, which it seems. but it is kind of funny. The bottom line here is Don Lemon wanted this to happen. Don Lemon is so stoked. He's so excited. He didn't call the first call was not to his lawyer. It was to his agent. Get me on MSDNC or PMS Now or whatever they call it nowadays. Now, the last thing that I'd like to talk about and highlight here is kind of in the possibly intentional, possibly unintentional masterstrokes of the administration or the conservative movement more broadly. In case you didn't know, we played a clip of this on Monday. Today is a very, very important day. Today is the day where libs are going to walk out of everything that they're doing. Walk out of school, walk out of the jobs that they don't have or at least pretend to have. And they are going to be big, mad, protesting, walking out everywhere. Now, I have no idea if this actually happened. Maybe it did. Maybe some places had a bunch of libs walk out. But on this very, very important walkout day, the timing of which Don Lemon is arrested is so convenient. Because if all of the libs over the weekend get a bunch of media attention, they are going to have to be asked about Don Lemon. If they get a bunch of attention for their walkout that they're causing, they're going to be asked about Don Lemon, in which case, that's fantastic for us. We are going to make the libs defend a man with an IQ that also can double as room temperature. Right? We are going to make the libs defend and promote one of the dumbest, easiest targets for conservatives. This is a great thing for all of us. Like, in the same way that a bunch of conservatives duped Jasmine Crockett into running for Senate because now she's going to have to appeal to farmers, gun owners, and just probably lose in a blaze of glory. This is exactly what we're, again, not electorally, but just, more broadly in the media space, all of the libs are going to have to defend Don Lemon. He's the one that's going to be put up on the pedestal, which one, he wants to have happen, and two, I kind of also do too. Like, you know what I don't want? I don't want, a smart lib rising to prominence, and although I disagree with them, it's kind of difficult to concisely argue against very articulate points. Don Lemon is not one of those types of people. Don Lemon is a fantastic dumbass who I am happy will now be at the forefront of lib politics. We should all be glad that Don Lemon got arrested because he broke the law, allegedly, and two, will now be the face of the lib side of the American political aisle. TBT at TPUSA.com if you agree with any of those sentiments. Maybe you have maybe you're a little upset about how long it took. Again, that was kind of a technical issue, I think. But I think we can all, TBT, if you for some reason are mad that Don Lemon got arrested, TBT at TPUSA.com is the email address. And also, let us know if you agree with the sentiments that I want Don Lemon to be the face of all of the libs in this country. TBT at TPUSA.com. Leave a comment wherever it is that you happen to be watching. We will be right back after the break to discuss, actually, one more serious thing. There's one more serious thing before we go into cleaning out the clips for this week and send you all off into the weekend. The one more serious thing is actually very, very serious, which is odd that we're doing this late on a Friday. But the birth rate around the world is declining rapidly, and it is a big problem. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience.
Going to see some people, on the MAGA right who are going to cheer this. At the same time, many First Amendment groups, many press freedom advocates are going to say this has a real chill because Lemon walked in, yes, with a microphone and a camera to document what happened at the church. Yeah. And frankly, I think viewers are better off for him having told us what happened in the church that day.
Yes, the world is better off for him showing us how fantastically stupid so many of those crazy, violent lefty lunatics actually are. I agree with Brian Stelter here. I don't know why Brian Stelter is still employed at CNN. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. We are all better off for Don Lemon having shown us who they really are, who he really is, and then getting arrested for his troubles. Yeah, good. All right, into something serious. And this is, again, I apologize for digging into something serious on a Friday, but there's too many things to get to in a short period of time. But this is actually both fascinating, interesting, and important all at the same time. Chile's National Institute, and you're going to be wondering, why the heck are you talking about Chile? Well, because it's indicative of a much broader problem. The National Institute of Statistics on Wednesday, according to Breitbart, published data showing the country's fertility rate has fallen to the lowest level in recorded history. 0.97 children per woman. That's, again, according to Breitbart, the Chilean national statistics. Again, why are we talking about Chile specifically? Because it is indicative of a much bigger and more broad problem. First things first, I'm not entirely sure how a woman has 0.97% of a child. Little joke. I know that's how the math works, but I understand that. But bottom line, fertility rates are fantastically low in pretty much all countries, which we'll get to statistically in just a second. For reference, the total fertility rate of 2.1 or more is necessary for any country to maintain its population without immigration. This is the biggest thing that we're hitting on here. The fact that we are not having kids means that you either have a decision to make between just not having a replacement rate population or importing a bunch of freaking third worlders to come and do the things. Sorry, tangent on tangent on tangent. We're going to get to some statistics around the declining birth rate, but this is actually the bigger problem. Elon Musk has been talking about this for a very long time. The bigger problem here is that a bunch of older politicians gambled on the fact they saw this a long time ago. They saw this decades ago. They saw that, hey, the birth rate is declining, and in order to prop up all of our social services, we have to maintain the working population in order to be able to, pull off our whole Ponzi scheme that we have going on here with our social services. But because the birth rate was declining, they thought, okay, well, what do? We have to import a workforce into the United States of America in order to bolster the numbers, which would help subsidize this Ponzi scheme that we have going on. The thing that they didn't account for, and it was very stupid of them to not account for, was the fact that the people that they were importing do not actually in so many ways benefit the tax revenue that they hoped that they would. In other words, a bunch of people were retiring. You got to take care of them on Social Security or whatever. The entire whole Ponzi scheme of workers to retirement and all that sort of stuff was, just a reality of math. Those people thought that, well, okay, since we can't have kids to be able to support this this retiring class, instead we're going to import people. The problem was the people that they imported from Somalia and a bunch of other places didn't actually increase the revenue. They took from the government also. So now we have this double problem with people coming into the country who don't want to adapt to the culture, don't want to assimilate to the American way of life, and also are taking from the system, not benefiting the system at all. It's a whole thing that's just has become a problem that is so difficult to unravel. I'm not entirely sure how we do it. But the bottom line, well, answer my question, the way we do it is have more kids. The way we do it is outbreed the libs. That's the whole thing. Geez, rambling on too long here about this is the problem, is I have too many tangents that I'd like to go off on like the bigger, more actual realistic problems that exist in our country, really globally. And I kind of lose the thread of what we actually are meant to talk about here. So let's get back on track. According to UN data, countries by fertility rate of in 2025, here's a map of that. Worldwide, only 103, less than half of the 230 recognized countries and territories are at or above replacement rate. Of those 103 countries, 53 of them, half of them are in Africa. Great. 22 of them, and I say that, people are going to be like, that was racist. No, I'm talking about development. Like that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about countries that are developed first world countries. I want those people to be the people reproducing. Western countries who share Western values. I don't want third world countries outbreeding everybody and kind of dispersing all of their non-Western values to the rest of the world. I don't care what the race is. I don't care what people look like. When I say, oh, great, I'm talking about, yeah, all of these countries that can't figure out how to get running water to the majority of their population. I don't want them influencing culture at an undue level. That's what I don't want. 22 of them are in Asia, 16 are in Oceania, and only 6 of them are in North America, 5 in South America, 1 in Europe. As if that wasn't concerning enough, the average fertility rate in Africa, for example, is 3.65 children, babies, per woman. In North America, there's all the statistics of all the continents here, but North America is the only other one that I actually care about because, again, Western countries and Western values. 1.65, well below replacement rate. And to make it even more concerning, producer Glenn put this in here, and I'm not super stoked about it, but it is a reality that we have to deal with. Of the countries that are producing more people at a rate that can sustain replacement, bunch of them are Muslim countries. So there's that. Muslim countries are at 3.0%. In other words, 3 babies per woman. Non-Muslim countries are at 2, which is almost replacement rate, but we're getting outplaced by the Muslims. That's not good. Of the 10 most populated countries in the world, only 5 of them are operating at replacement rate. And they're not the countries that you want to have them have happen. India, interestingly enough, India, China, and the United States are below the fertility rate necessary to replace everybody who is dying off. So the top 3 are not there. Not the main one I'm concerned about is the United States of America. Indonesia, though, Pakistan, and Nigeria are the next most populated countries. They are all above the replacement rate. Then it goes to Brazil, who is under, Bangladesh, who is over, Russia, who is under, and Ethiopia, who is over. So the 5 countries that are at replacement rate or higher are not countries that I'd like to build my system around. Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, and Ethiopia. There's so much more that we can say about this, but I do want to get to cleaning out the clips. Bottom line, as Charlie would always say, get married, have kids. And if you don't, you're part of the problem. I'm kidding. I'm not that harsh here, but also it is a dire concern that the fertility rate is dropping because one of 2 things can happen. One, in best case scenario, we can repopulate. We can boost fertility rates by having people, go back to church, start understanding, what life is all about. Or 2, we can have the entire social system that we have set up here collapse. Those are the two options. The two options are get married, have kids, watch all of our social services collapse and burn. Which is going to happen eventually anyways. I think the CBO has us at like 8 years left before Social Security becomes insolvent. And that's a whole discussion in and of itself. I know we're going to get a ton of emails saying, I paid into Social Security. Yeah, but it wasn't invested properly. Social Security is one of the lowest performing funds, not one of, probably the most low performing fund like in the world ever, which is another problem. And yeah, maybe you paid into it your entire working career, but what people are taking out of it, given the lifespan, is way, way more than they actually put in. Different conversation for a different time, but the bottom line here is the way we fix this: get married, have kids. And if you're not in that age bracket anymore, that's totally fine. Convince the kids at your church to get married and have kids. In that order, by the way. That big caveat. Do the marriage thing first, then have kids. Trust me, your life will be 1, way better, 2, way easier. We're going to clean out some of the clips that we've had over the week. This is fun. We're past the seriousness of the week's news, into the silly and fun. It's Friday. We're cleaning out all of the clips. tpt@tpusa.com is the email address if you'd like to send along your very, very angry emails about me degrading Social Security, or if you think it's a good thing, something that needs to happen in terms of Social Security running out and being insolvent in the next 8 years. tpt@tpusa.com. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th, like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit RealAmericasVoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
So hanging out with my grandson Jobob. He's part native, part Arab, part Jewish. But he lives in California, so he's being raised Mexican.
That's funny. That's just funny. And I think he meant it to be funny too. That's what I get all the time. I get Filipino quite a bit, and then I also get Mexican or broad Hispanic. Neither one, but I'm in California, so fine. It actually is hilarious. I think it's both a good and bad. Well, it's interesting. Let's just say it's interesting. I'll go into places sometimes because we live in a very densely populated Spanish-speaking area, and you go into like a restaurant and they speak to you exclusively in Spanish, and I'm like, one, just no. I think if I had the beliefs that I had, but also spoke Spanish, I still would be like, nah. This is an English-speaking country. Go ahead and speak me in English. But at the same time, I don't necessarily blame them, but because there's so many people here that speak Spanish, they probably look at me and go, this guy clearly knows Spanish and isn't a right-wing MAGA extremist, which I am. So let's go and speak some Spanish. Bottom line is, it's just an interesting thing to observe through the eyes of somebody who, by this guy's definition, is being raised Mexican in California. Let's see. Let's get to some of the, clean out some clips. Actually, this is kind of a story that is kind of fun, kind of interesting. The California Post, I think, is fantastic. They released this week. If you're not familiar, California has their own version of the New York Post. It's called the California Post. And the California Post has been hilarious to follow. I think they're just trying to get attention because they're a new publication, and that's kind of what you have to do. But they've been doing some hilarious stories, including one like this: a clueless mob. Actually, let me just play you the clip first, because it's funnier when you follow up with the headline. This is cut one. This is a group in California of brave protesters yelling at ICE until they leave a restaurant. Producer Glenn spent a lot of time blurring out the cuss words because the radical, lunatic, violent left loves using bad words. This is cut one.
Oh, you can. Let me show you, but
you want to harass people, huh? No. How does it feel to be harassed?
No.
So he did not deny he does work for. He did not deny it.
We're from TSA.
He did not. How does it feel? He did not deny it. He did not deny it. How does it feel to be harassed? Look. How does it feel? That's you. How does it feel? Look. He said it. He said it was him. He said it was him. How does it feel to be harassed? He said it. He confirmed it is you. He confirmed. He confirmed.
Those brave revolutionaries there, tormenting, taunting, harassing TSA employees. Like, those guys worked at TSA. They were air marshals, and somebody mistaked them as ICE. Oh my, it's ICE over there. And honest to God, I kind of appreciate the reaction of those TSA employees. Again, not immigration. By the way, that's not, nobody's saying that that's okay for anybody, even if they were ICE. It makes you ridiculous. But I do kind of appreciate the reaction that they took, because I've thought of this myself. If somebody comes up to me and accuses me of being ICE, I think I go for a little while before I deny it. I don't even know if I do deny it. Like, we drive a big SUV. I've considered driving to Minneapolis in my SUV and thinking, hey, I drive an SUV. Maybe that just means that people will think I'm a part of ICE. And then in that scenario in which somebody is berating me for being a part of ICE, I don't think I'd mention it. Unless there's like clear danger and violence. I think I'd pull up my phone and go, this is amazing. Not amazing necessarily in a good way. Like, I am full of amazement that this is happening. I think I just let it happen for a little bit longer, document the full-throated insanity of these lefty violent lunatics, and then be on my way. Again, provided it doesn't get, threatening in any way. I'd probably be like, if this is what you want to put out there to the world, far be it from me to stop you by telling you that, no, I'm actually not an ICE agent. I'm a professional smartass. That's maybe, I'm not going to say that up front. I'm going to let it play out. Wow. Not meaning to talk a lot here. I just think this is all of this stuff is interesting. Let's continue cleaning out the clips. The clip clean out. This is one that we didn't get to. California comes in for a kick, and we just hate to see that happen. This is cut 9.
It's been almost a month since California banned reusable plastic bags in grocery stores. They banned all plastic bags? Well, not these ones, or 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 those ones, or this one, or those ones. And this entire aisle is a bunch of cardboard boxes hiding plastic bags. So which ones did they ban? Just reusable ones that make your life easier.
Have you guys seen the clips of, so California, yeah, no more plastic bags at the grocery checkout place. So, I mean, like, I don't want to reiterate what he said, but basically, yeah, the only ones that they banned were the ones that were actually convenient. But there's clips of people trying to shove paper bags into their trash cans. That's what I grew up doing. That's what everybody does. Like in California, I mean, that's what everybody does around. Here I am thinking I have to explain it, but you guys have plastic bags wherever you live, unless you're in godforsaken California, where you have to do this performative act pretending that you're doing something for the environment by banning plastic bags, which is the only convenient thing in plastic at the grocery store. But I grew up putting those plastic bags in the trash can, and those were the trash bags. And now we've been denied our right to trash bags in the communist hellhole that is California. And there's hilarious videos going around the internet of people trying to shove the paper bags in there, and to great fanfare. Let's go on more of a serious note. This one, this is clip 10. This, I think, well, let me explain why I think this is funny afterward. This is some dude who's very, very mad and 70. Cut 10.
Stop! Look out! Down! Just chill. Okay. I'm fine. I don't even breathe anything. I'm just angry. I'm 7 years old. Angry. Oh.
Hold on. Wait. He is angry. I do know that. But is he 70? Oh my gosh. I have to change everything I believe about the world nowadays. There's a guy who's angry and he's 70. Libs love to like throw in things that don't matter. One, anger is never an argument, right? You could be angry about something and that anger could be justifiable, but that doesn't mean you're making a good argument, right? I'm angry. Well, okay, that's not an argument, sir. Well, I'm 70. Well, golly gee willikers, I must be wrong about everything then. You're telling me you're angry and 70? Get out of town. You're right. I think let's just let all the illegals come into the country. What fantastic argument, good sir. I'm 70 and I'm angry. Okay. Thank you for playing. Let's keep going. This is okay. So we're toggling back and forth between silly and serious. Not that that guy was serious. This is very silly in and of itself, but this is cut 11. This is the Department of this is Marco Rubio testifying, and their social media accounts put this out, which I think is fascinating. This is Marco Rubio, Don Roe Doctrine Corps. If you're not familiar with this trend, it's like one-liners, quick pithiness, and Marco Rubio very, very good at it as he was testifying in front of Congress this week as the Secretary of State. Cut 11.
Will you make a public commitment today to rule out U.S. regime change in Cuba?
Regime change?
Yes.
Oh, no, I think we would love to see the regime there change.
The president just mistook the two countries for each other, correct?
Yeah, he meant to say Greenland, but I think we're all familiar with presidents that have verbal stumbles. We've had presidents like that before. Some made a lot more than this one.
Bombing a capital, blockading a country, and removing elected officials.
We didn't remove an elected official. We removed someone who was not elected, and it was actually an indicted drug trafficker in the United States.
Are you the lead for U.S. government on foreign policy?
No. The lead on U.S. foreign policy is named Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States.
We have not received any information on the Board of Peace. Do you commit to informing us about what the heck this is?
Yeah, it's a Board of Peace.
What is your criteria for returning to a military option and putting boots on?
Well, I don't recall the president saying he was going to put troops in Venezuela. Where did he say that?
I'm asking you, what are your...
But that's what you said. I didn't remember the
president has already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela.
No, I think the president has said that he retains the right as commander-in-chief to protect the United States against any imminent threats. Maybe that involves troops. Maybe that involves air power. We hope, but we don't anticipate that being the case in Venezuela.
I don't want to get out over my skis here. I love JD Vance. I think he's going to make, and Marco Rubio has come out and said if JD's running, he's not running. But we also have a pretty deep bench. That's how we got a deep bench. Who was on the Libs bench? Like AOC? Okay, cool. And now Don Lemon. If the Libs bench for electoral politics and presidential office we got JD and then Marco Rubio and then just a long line of people, I'm feeling pretty good about the future. I don't know who they put up. Oh yeah, AOC and Gavin. Good luck with that. I would, gosh dang it, a Vance Rubio ticket versus a Newsom Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ticket, that we would win 48 states, right? Like, is there, I don't know, like, maybe we'd win 46 states. I'm discounting, let's see, California, New York, Minnesota probably, and then like Washington State. Other than that, I think we'd win everybody else. Anyways, we got some more clips to clean out after the break, though. We'll try to get to a bunch of them, but wow. We'll be right back after the break. TPT at TPUSA.com if you'd like to send along some clips that we may use next week or make it all the way to Friday in our clip clean out. TPT at TPUSA.com. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the...
Disguise myself as a woman to see what women go through every day. I'm undercover. I'll let you know how it goes. Update you guys, women get called tranny a lot.
Oh. There's so many layers here. First things first, based, I guess. Yeah. Second, I appreciate the joke. Whoever this person is, I appreciate the joke. It's humorous. It's funny. which is redundant, but it's funny. It's an entertaining, 9-second clip. And also, why you do that? The joke implies that, hey, I'm kind of on your guys' side. This is right. We're together on this. But then the process of pulling off that joke required being really, really good at dressing up as a girl. I don't know what to make of this. It's a very layered onion that you got to keep peeling back this joke. But it is funny and it is confusing in a lot of different ways. Let's see. Okay, let's get to this. This is again one of the prominent faces of the libs. And sorry, I hate to do this to you. This is going to make some folks angry if you haven't seen this clip yet. But we'll dispense of it in a jokey, hokey manner because that's what it necessitates. It doesn't require much deep philosophical thought. It just mainly requires calling this very sad, depraved woman probably some mean names. But this is cut 12. Been sitting on this for a couple days, but cleaning out the clips. This is, what's her name? Jennifer Welsh, I think. The face, hopefully the future face of the libs. Cut 12.
Evangelical Christianity is a cancer. These are the worst of our country. These are the worst people in our country because they use their religion in two ways, as a weapon and as a shield. They weaponize it whenever they want to and say, we're on the moral high ground. You're a lesbian. You deserve to die. You're a lesbian. The cops shouldn't have revived you. Oh, your parents are Mexicans and they brought you over here. Yeah, you should go to jail and eat worm food.
There's not really much to say about that. I think I think the appropriate response to that sort of stuff is just like rolling their eyes. I think we just roll our eyes at that. My response to that is, I don't care what you have to say. Your opinion is not worth a rebuttal, is what that is. Okay, well, what? The idea that you're a lesbian, you deserve to die. Yeah, it's actually our pastor got up on stage, delivered the sermon, and that was the whole thing. Is just the lesbians deserve to die. That's what our church stands for. I don't make the rules. I don't write the sermons, but clearly that's what and that's what everybody's church stands for. It's that we're anti-lesbian, and the punishment for being lesbian is clearly death. Of course, Miss Welsh, that is what we all think. This is not at all sarcastic or satire. We believe this wholeheartedly. Okay, that's it. That's the only response that is warranted in this particular clip. Let's go back to funny and end on a fun note, because we don't even have time, and this is my fault. I rant a little bit too long on some of these things, so I apologize for that, but there's stuff that we won't even get to because we don't have time. So let's do this. Let's end it on a fun note. Somebody did a South Park episode clip, and that clip is now annotated with various verbs or various words on the screen, which can show you what things look like in the modern day world as depicted by South Park characters. This is cut 14.
That's right, you and me, right now, we're having it out. Let's go, come on, come on.
I cannot find one critical thing to say about that. I think the crying was at the correct pitch. The facial expression looks exactly accurate. Spot on, South Park. Now, I know that's not what they actually meant, but that perfectly depicts what is currently happening. We'll be right back with our mailbag segment before we close out the weekend, send you off into the bright, shining sunset of a Friday evening and into weekend bliss. We're back to the grind on Monday. TPT@TPUSA.com is the email address if you'd like to send along your thoughts, comments, concerns, criticisms. We'll be right back after the break with our mailbag segment. Don't go away.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious conspiracy.
but behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the...
Here's some places that are must-sees in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is the capital of Washington State. It's the home of the FDR Memorial, seen behind me. FDR was in a wheelchair, which is why it's really messed up they named a street after him. There's eagles all over the memorial because FDR was a Phillies fan, and his memorial kind of looks like Rome because men are obsessed with the Roman Empire. This is his actual size. Look how small I look next to him. Behind me is the Washington Monument. I know what you're thinking. No way he was that big. You might remember the monument from when Tobey Maguire's younger brother defeated Beetlejuice. Luckily, they've been able to repair most of the damage from that attack. This is the World War II Memorial, which is the sequel to World War I. Similar to Shrek 2, World War II is more critically acclaimed. No news if there's going to be another sequel, but Disney has acquired the rights. This is Martin Luther King Jr., seen here holding his 95 Thesis, which he nailed to the Catholic Church in a dream. Behind me is the White House, which is an assisted living home for old white men with dementia. It was designed to look like sorority houses at the University of Alabama and is made famous by the addictinggames.com game, George Bush Shootout, which takes place at the White House.
You know, that's some quality satire there. That is some quality satire that, honest to God, is not very far removed from the reality of a bunch of libs online. Okay, got to get to some mailbag because we only got 2 minutes left here. Greg sends an email. tpt@tpca.com is the email address. Greg says, I'm tired of hearing about Minneapolis, Minnesota. Can we replace that state with the Bahamas or Puerto Rico? One of two things. Good idea on the replacing them. Maybe the Bahamas or Puerto Rico, not exactly the best options there. I would imagine Puerto Rico would go very, very hard to the left because the left gives them more free things, and the political nature of the current lib part of the aisle would be like, hey, we're going to give you free stuff, and they'll just keep voting for them. So not necessarily Puerto Rico. My compromise would be Alberta. If we could switch Alberta, Canada, make that a state, and then send Minnesota to Canada, it'd be a win-win for everybody. A win-win for everybody. If you don't know what's going on in Alberta, go look it up. Fantastic. They might actually vote on a referendum that could make them eligible to be a state. President Trump said he would willingly accept them, but different conversation for a different time. Let's see. John says, on the topic of why Ilhan Omar is so mad, it's because, let me just characterize this for you. He thinks that the FBI is calling her make-believe wine company apple cider vinegar. It's very funny. Mike, some bold allegations here about Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama, the former president of the United States. I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to what those allegations may in fact be, again, between Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama. But that's that. That's going to do it for us here this week and for the weekend. Have a great weekend. Unplug a little bit. Do what Charlie would have done. I can't because I'm doing